All right, so let's get started. Rob here. Welcome to our BSPU call. Today is a combination of things. Number one, it is a fulfillment of a promise to those of you that were part of the anthology, because I've given you our summit email list, the complete summit email list. And so I want to spend some time with you talking about how to use that list, how to reach out to a list that is fairly cold to you personally. What I want to do in a general sense for everybody, because probably most of you that are listening or watching this right now, we're not part of the summit, we're not part of the anthology, so you don't even know what I'm talking about. But you need to have an email list. You need to have calls to action within your book that drive people back to your website. You need to be building a rapport and building a list that becomes a farm for you, a place for you to continually harvest a new crop of potential clients, leads, opportunities, relationships, etc. So I want to talk to you for a few minutes on some general core email marketing principles that I hope, if you're not doing email marketing now, will convince you of the importance of doing email marketing. If you don't know that people are reading your book right now and they never reach out to you, what good is that to you? Yes, maybe you made an impact on someone's life, but you'll never know it. If, on the other hand, you have your call to action details in your book and a percentage of the people that are reading your book are coming back to you because they want to see your 3-part email sequence training, they want to get the cheat sheet or the tip sheet or the PDF or whatever it is, and you bring them back and start building your email list, you're going to see very, very quickly that this is a place where you can build a relationship and you can take people to the next thing that you're buying or selling or the next program that you're offering. So very, very, very important for you to be building an email list. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some email marketing generalities and hopefully some things that will convince you if you're not doing it now. You may have heard the term, the money is in the list. And that is completely true. Yes, it's great to have social media. If you have 100,000 followers on Instagram, or you have 100,000, or who knows how many subscribers you have on YouTube, et cetera, all that is fantastic. The only problem is you are building on somebody else's platform. And when you're building on somebody else's platform, that means they are in control. Mark Zuckerberg is in control of your following, right? The head of Google is in control of your following, and probably not the head. It's probably somebody so far down on the chain that you could never know who they are. The reality is that you can be deplatformed very, very easily for nothing, for doing absolutely nothing. And then everything that you've built, your Facebook profile, your followers on Instagram, your subscribers on YouTube, they all go away. But if you have an email list, this is something that you own. Yes, it too lives on a platform like ActiveCampaign or GetResponse or Mailgun or any of those others, but the list is yours. You can download the list. You can have it in an Excel spreadsheet. I have 140,000 people that are active on my list. These are real people. They fill a stadium, right? All of those people have dreams of doing a book, have desires to do a book, etc. Now, I am not going to get 140,000 customers from that list. That's never going to happen, but they're real people. So the money really is in the list. If you're spending more time building social media or spending more time building on somebody else's platform, you're making a mistake. You need to be building your own platform, and that is the first thing that you do when you have an email list. So that's number one, and the most important thing for you to understand. Authors need an email list. If all you're doing is selling books, then guess what? You need to write book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, etc. And you will be able to sell it and pre-sell it with your email list prior to it ever being published on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or anywhere else. So please understand the importance of building an email list. Number 2, your open rate of your email list is really crucial, and it follows your subject line. Meaning that whatever your subject is, your subject line is for your email, that is going to precipitate whether people open your email or not. Now, understand, yes, you can use a real clickbaity email subject line, but eventually that's going to wear down the trust of your list, and you don't want to do that. So you need to measure your subject lines and how clickbaity they are versus how, conversational and informational they are. What's the best way to do that if you've never really been good at writing copy or you don't really know the rules of writing subject lines? AI makes it so simple. All you need to do is plug whatever email it is that you're sending into ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT that they're an expert copywriter and an expert in writing emails. And obviously, you can be a lot more sophisticated in what your prompt is. But if you let it know it's an expert, you give it the content of your email and then say, I want 5 or 6 fantastic subject lines that will hook my ideal client and get them to decide to open my email and read the full email, etc. You don't have to be an expert. AI allows you to be a novice and still write great subject lines. So just understand your subject line. It's like the ad, the headline copy of your ad. It's the first thing that people see. There needs to be a combination of clarity and curiosity in your subject line to get people to take action. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, I don't know about you, but I can tell you about me and I can tell you about my general observations. And that is, most people scan email first before they ever decide to read it. Okay. Now, if you're a fantastic copywriter and an expert copywriter, then look, by all means, write long form copy and really long emails. I don't think that's the case for most of us here. I think for most of us here, if we write a really long email, then we're going to lose people about 3 sentences in and they're never going to finish it. My suggestion to you is to write very short emails, keep the paragraphs short themselves. I have a document and all this. I will share it with you. So if you're not taking good notes, don't worry about that. I'll share a document in the Facebook group so you have it. But use bullet points, make it bold, have a lot of white space. Don't make it like overwhelming with the amount of copy that you have unless you are an expert copywriter and you know how to write long form copy. I don't, and I've been doing it a long time. So if I don't, probably most of you don't either. So short paragraphs, short sentences, bullets, bolding, get to the point, make it conversational, and then, end it with whatever link or whatever thing it is that you're giving to them to get them to take action. Okay. Number 4 on your emails. Your tone matters more than how polished you are, right? In a general sense. In other words, write like you talk, be conversational, use contractions, be human. Email communication is really one-to-one. Yes, you may be sending it to a list of 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, but you're sending it to an individual person. From you, an individual person. So, send it to them as though they are an individual, and that individual might be, hopefully will be, interested in the thing that it is that you're talking about, right? So just write like you talk, be conversational. You don't need to be flowery. In fact, it's better to build trust and write conversationally than have perfect grammar, okay? I get corrected on my grammar sometimes in my emails. I have never once found somebody who corrected me on my grammar become a buyer of any of my services that Bestseller Publishing does. Now, is that a direct correlation? I don't know. All I can tell you is don't worry about it. Build trust with people. Be conversational. Your tone and how you speak is better than it being perfect and beautiful and polished. It's just you talking to another human being. Okay? That's number 4. Number 5, your emails should be focused primarily on the relationship and building the relationship with whatever it is that you're promoting secondarily. In other words, even if you're promoting something, Try to deliver value to people first, whether they buy or not. I talk about this a lot when it comes to my workshops. When I do a workshop or a webinar, I know that I teach and I give a lot more content than a lot of the webinar gurus feel comfortable with, right? They'll tell you you need to only teach a certain percentage, et cetera. And I understand that. I understand the salesmanship of that. Here's my perspective on it, though. I'm always happy with the sales that we get at the end, and it makes me feel like a decent human being because I delivered good value. I wasn't just there to sell. I was there to deliver value, encourage people, help people, and then, the sales came as well. So think of your email list in the same way. Give value, encourage people, serve first, lead with the giving hand. And don't be afraid to promote, but build trust before you're doing any kind of promoting. So just think of it like a relationship. You're not going to do anything wrong, right? As long as you take it from the angle of I am here to serve, I am here to give, I am trying to build a relationship with this person. Some of them are going to tell you to F off, which is mind-blowing to me. You'll send an email and people will be mean back to you, whatever, right? You don't know what's going on in their day. Just block, delete, get them off your email list, move on, and give, give, give. Okay? Number 6, really, really important. Don't start emailing people without understanding that now you need to be consistent in your email building and relationship building. Okay? Statistically, I don't remember what the statistics are, but I know that if you don't email at least once per week, and I would highly recommend you email every single day. You cannot email too much. I promise you. If you're giving value, if you're building the relationship, you cannot email too much. So understand, consistency is what builds familiarity, and that's what creates sales. So you need to email regularly. I would suggest at a minimum 3 times per week. I would really suggest you try to email people every single day. And somebody's going to say that's just too much. Just understand this. Even a good open rate is 30%. A really good open rate of a decent sized list is 30%. That means that 7 out of 10 people that you're emailing are never seeing your email anyway. Okay? So don't be afraid to send the same email with a different subject line to anybody that hasn't opened, or to simply think in terms of emailing every single day. Okay? Don't be inconsistent. As soon as you become inconsistent, people lose focus, they lose track. They don't even realize that they had signed up for whatever the thing is that they signed up for with you. So stay consistent. Once you start, just understand, I'm not quitting this. I'm going to keep giving. I'm going to keep serving. Okay? Number 7, once you warm up your emails, once a relationship is formed, your best clients, your best and easiest conversions are going to come from your email list. Like, just trust me. As you build a relationship and a rapport with people, they're going to feel like they know you, especially if you have a book and you've gotten them to read your book. They're going to absolutely feel like they know you, they trust you, they like you. And with you emailing them on a regular basis, when they are finally ready, they're going to be ready pretty fast. And so just have that confidence that if I just do what I need to do with my email list, I keep building it, I keep serving, I keep giving, then the conversions are going to come. Okay? Number 8, great stories are better than great offers, although great offers are really pretty awesome too. So I'm a big believer in great offers. What does that mean? If you can make people feel emotion, right? If you tell them a story that they can relate to, a personal story from your own life, your own experience, a client win, a case study, a failure, a lesson, that's like real life, right? I don't know about the emails that you read, but those are the emails that I read, and they're meaningful to me, right? That doesn't mean I read every single story, but the ones that catch my attention, those are the ones that I read through to completion. So great stories build rapport, just like we talk about with your book. It's no different. Your email is the same, but it just needs to be in a shorter form. Okay. And then obviously, you can, from your story, fill that towards whatever offer, you're making, right? It doesn't have to just be a story. The story can lead to whatever your offer is as well. Okay. Number nine, and finally, is having an email list is a long game. Okay. When I started getting emails, and I wasn't good at it in the beginning, I was terrible at it in the beginning. I was terrible at client follow up. But when I started, I didn't envision that I'd have, over 100,000 active people and hundreds of thousands that have opted in over the years. I didn't envision that. I was just trying to get 100 or 500 or 1,000 people that I could communicate with. But if you play the long game, you keep serving people, then you will have people that have been on your list for years and years and years. And I have people that come back to me that say, I originally opted in 7 years ago, or I went to your first workshop, or I had a client purchase within the last 6 months that said, oh, hey Rob, I got on your email list, and then I went to one of your live events. I used to do live events for non-clients. When I was in California, but I haven't done one of those in 7 years, 8 years. And she had said, well, I went to one of those, and it must have been 8 or 10 years ago. And so, I mean, once you build the relationship, think of your email list as a long game. You're going to keep serving those people. You're going to keep giving. You're going to keep being you, and your email list is going to continue to grow. So some will be harvested quickly, right? Some crops grow faster than others. But if people are staying on your email list for years and years, eventually they might just be ready to purchase and to pull the trigger. So a new email subscriber might buy in 30 minutes, and they might buy in 3 months, and they might buy in 3 years. In one sense, it doesn't matter. Just keep giving and serving and building your list over the long term. Okay. Just think of it that way. And don't worry that you don't have a list today or that your list is very small. Just know, do the right thing and your list will grow, and people will come from your list and become clients. Okay. So, in a general sense, those are 9 things that I want you to consider, whether you're an author that already has an email list and sees the importance of it, or you're an author that doesn't have an email list and don't even understand like the steps necessary. This is not, I'm not going to give you a technical lesson on how to, what email service provider to choose or anything like that. You can find 100 videos, 100,000 videos on YouTube about that. We use GetResponse, we use ClickFunnels. For all of our book funnels, we drive people to us either through GetResponse, ActiveCampaign. We also use Mailgun. Yes, I have a few different email service providers for my list. So you don't need to do that. You just need one. You need something simple. MailChimp is a good one. GetResponse is a good one. ActiveCampaign is a good one. Just choose. Okay. For those of you that are part of the anthology and you got the email list for the summit, this is a little bit of a different situation. And so I want to address that and talk a little bit about how to use that. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, I'll give you just a brief moment of explanation. So for people that were in the anthology and for the summit that we created, one of the promises that we made, which is very unusual for the summit, was that they would not just get the people that opted in to their session, their free giveaway, etc., which that's typical. But we actually promised to give them the entire list. And I don't know what the entirety of the list is. I don't know how many it is. But these are people that didn't opt in directly to you. They opted into the summit, which means that they might have opted into one of the other 15, 18, 20 summit speakers. So they don't maybe even necessarily know who you are. So if that is the case, and let's consider that that is the case, then we want to craft a welcome to this email list that's a little bit different than if it was a welcome to somebody that was opting in from your book funnel or from some call to action on social media, etc. Those are people that already know who you are. Those are people that have already opted in. These people may not know who you are, so you need to introduce yourself. Now, what I'm going to do for you guys is I've crafted like a simple like 3 email sequence to kind of warm people up that might not know who you are. But I want to go through it with you anyway so that you understand. So for those of you not part of the summit or anthology and you're listening, just know this. Yes, even people that didn't directly opt in to your thing can be buyers of your thing, and they can be interested in your thing, and you can actually warm them up to your thing. Now, you have to give them a way to opt out right away, and we want to be compliant and all of that. But we can warm them up. So, how are we going to do that? Well, let me give you kind of a three-step sequence of what that might look like as if it came from me. Like if I got this list and they didn't know who I was, because I have my thing, so I'm going to give you that as an example. So, and if we're talking about email number one, and I would get email number one out right away because, the summit just took place a short time ago, I would have the subject line and the focus of email number one being an introduction. So the subject line for email number one would be something like, "You saw me at the Expert Leadership Summit, dot, dot, dot." Or from the Expert Leadership Summit stage to your inbox, right? Something along the lines of, "Great connecting with you at the Expert Leadership Summit. This is a quick follow-up, dot, dot, dot." Something that lets them know, hey, they know they were at the Expert Leadership Summit. They got those emails. Now, I want to let them know I am part of that. So we're making that bridge and that connection. Now, for my author clients that are not part of the anthology, if you're a speaker at an